I'm Gillian Robinson, registered nurse and founder of Healthcare Compliance Solutions. Today I'm here with Reverend Neti Petaia, who's based in Rotorua, and registered nurse Philomena Petaia, who is based in Christchurch. Both of clearly they are genetically connected, so they are both of the Samoan community. And we've been having some conversations, and one of those conversations that I want to lead into right now is about advanced care planning with older people coming into care. Some people, I mean, if we're looking at Pacific region, Pacific Islands, the islands are multiple, and every region has a different way of doing things. You know, Samoa is not Fiji, it's not Tonga, it's not Niue, it's Samoa. So today's conversation is more with that context in mind, and also thinking about traditional care for older generations has been within the family unit. That is my understanding. But of course, the same with every group of people. Families are moving, children are growing up, they're leaving home, they're traveling more. So there's not always the family member there to look after the older person. So, Neti, I'm just going to pick up on that with you for a moment, talking about older people and their options about going into care. What happens if they don't want to go into care? And then thinking about the end-of-life choices. Philomena, as a registered nurse working in the community, can you talk to us about the advanced care planning process?
One of the issues that I've become involved in conversation with was the older people in the family who refuse to go into care or go into a home, and being forced into making that decision. And it wasn't a pleasant experience for that particular person, which then I came in to have a conversation with the family. And it got to the point where the parent actually didn't want to have anything to do with the children anymore.
Oh.
So that's the severity of this kind of situation and scenario, is because it took me 2 weeks to actually sit down with the family and talk with the children that it's their need that they're trying to address, but ignoring the need of this particular parent who will be put in an awkward position because of what they're trying to do is to, find a solution that will work for them around their own issues and their own situations, whereas the parent is being completely ignored. And so maybe having a conversation beforehand on how care will be provided in terms of a plan for situations like this, it will avoid a whole lot of headaches and a whole lot of issues that will come up. And so I thought that might be a real, because it was a real situation. Yeah. It was a real situation. But again, this is where one person who found out about this actually contacted me, someone, not the family, but someone who was concerned about this situation, got in touch with me. And so I came in and I got the family to sit down and actually say to them, look, deal with this in a manner that addresses both your needs and the need of your parents.
Excellent. That's good to hear, because I think a lot of people might not recognize that a minister, Reverend like yourself, because of the strong faith base of a lot of the Pacific region people, that you hold in your role, you hold an extra place and status of mana, as it were, and can sort of help influence and bring together that conversation. So thank you for sharing that example with us. Philomena, can you talk to us about the advanced care planning process and how that might work for somebody in the community that then might be making that choice to go into care?
I think the advanced care planning concept or idea is quite a good, like it's a very useful thing for families and individuals to invest in. And I think it's often understood by our communities, often left to the last minute, and often the idea when we start talking about death and dying and that sort of part of the ACP or the advanced care plan is it's quite morbid for some of our people, and they don't really understand the purpose of why they're talking about death and dying now, even though they're not at that stage. But for us as health professionals and community workers who work with our families, it's an honor to be a part of that process where they're discussing it and helping them realize we're not talking about you going to die like right now. We want to make sure that when that time comes around that we're fulfilling what it is that you really want, and that we're respecting your wishes, and that we are incorporating your culture, because for most of them it's that cultural responsibilities that they hand over to the next generation that they want to make clear before they pass on. So I know we tried to do it with our grandmother when she was in that process, and it was quite tricky and frustrating, especially from a younger person in the family, speaking to elders who have chief titles about this concept of advanced care planning and why it's important that we discuss this with our grandmother while she's still, I guess, compos mentis, like she still had a bit of, she was able to still make decisions. She was able to still contribute to the discussions and really articulate what it was that she wanted. So I think we didn't quite do it justice, because I think we might have left it a bit too late. But it was also not only educating our grandmother about what this means, but the wider family who have never had to do this in their life. So I think there's a lot more to the advanced care planning that's not currently there, that needs to be done for our Pacific communities in terms of the education process that can be done at any stage of your lifespan, this advanced care planning, and the importance of why we start discussing things that are quite sensitive. So, death and dying is quite a sensitive topic in our communities, and they feel like when you start talking about it, you're jinxing it, but it's not really. It's actually just being prepared so that, everyone is ready, not just yourself. So
a couple of key points that I'm picking up there is having the conversation earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. But being very careful about how that conversation is started and introduced, so they don't think that you're actually telling them something that they don't know and they're about to know you're actually not.
Yes.
And also about denial.
Yeah.
Denial that death will inevitably arrive. But preparing, for that time is the purpose of having this, conversation at this particular time. And that's a concept that most Pacific people and most Samoans find it very hard to deal with. Right. But someone in my position will be able to guide that conversation in a manner that eventually arrived at an understanding, and people come on board and realize that death may not come now, but it will come at some time soon. But prepare ourselves, with this, and prepare ourselves spiritually and mentally for that time when it arrives. Yeah. And also journey with the person who we're talking about the plan for, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Absolutely. Once again, thank you very much for this valuable conversation. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people out there sort of transition and work more closely together to partner and understand each other, so that we can help protect people in their own identity wherever they are. So thank you for that.